Well, there's the context, the Middle East. And here is one of the foremost hostage negotiators in the world who himself was taken hostage. Lipscomb, would you welcome Terry Waite?
Well, believe it or not, that is the first time that I've seen that particular video. And it brings back, of course, many memories. One of the ways in which one has negotiated for the release of hostages is to have a very risky approach. And that is to seek a face-to-face meeting with those who have abducted innocent people. And abductions take place throughout the world today with alarming rapidity. At any given moment, there are some 2,000 people across the world who are being held captive. And so in my negotiations, the first thing was to seek a face-to-face meeting. Now that is risky because you are dealing with people who are often in a precarious situation, who are highly suspicious, and who may well easily take you captive. The second thing to do in this type of situation is to try and build a relationship of trust between yourself and the person from the hostage group with whom you are speaking. And that is not, again, easy, because you will probably be, almost certainly, come from different cultures and different backgrounds. You will have different understandings. You will come from a different religious background. And somehow, you have to be able to stretch out a hand and form a bridge and grasp the hand of the other in order to build a simple relationship of trust. And you know very well that human beings, being what they are, that trust can easily be broken. The next thing you have to do is then go to the root of the issue. Why are you behaving as you're behaving by taking innocent people? And to ignore gossip, rumor, press speculation, but to hear from the individuals themselves. And you will often hear stories of groups that have been persecuted, frustrated in their ideals, put to the bottom of the economic pile, and feel that the only way in which they can achieve any recognition for their betterment is by taking innocent people and using them as pawns to achieve their political goals. And then, the final step, if you can get that far, is to try and find a non-violent way of releasing the situation. A solution whereby all parties to the problem can walk away with their dignity intact. Those are the basic steps that are needed to be taken in a negotiating situation of the kind I'm speaking about. I had gone through those steps in Beirut. I had formed a relationship with the leaders of the Hezbollah. I had a reasonable relationship of trust. I have been able to get to the root concerns, and in fact also have been able to enable two hostages to return home, both incidentally from the United States of America. I had never been allowed to see the hostages. I had always gone at night to the secret headquarters for conversations. Often I'd been blindfolded. I'd been shown pictures of the hostages, but I'd never been allowed to see them. And then there came a calamity. There was political interference in this whole negotiating process through which I was going, which led, to cut a long story short, the group with whom I was dealing and negotiating, Hezbollah, to become suspicious of me and to begin to think that I was not a humanitarian negotiator, but I was acting on behalf of foreign intelligence agencies. And that suspicion grew. So much so that my whole effort to work for the release was jeopardized. And it appeared in the press, in the international press, that I in fact had been discredited. And at that point I had to make a decision. Do I pull away or do I go back? It was a very hard decision to take, because I knew that if I went back, the dangers were in fact increased. I decided to return. I went back, and as you saw in that film, went to the location where the meetings were arranged. I met with the leader of the group. He said to me, "This is a very difficult time because of the political machinations." I said, "It is." He said, "In the past you've asked to see the hostages." I said, "Yes." He said, "They're ill. One may die." I said, "In the past," or he said to me, "In the past you've asked to see them. We haven't allowed it." I said, "No." He said, "Now you can." I said what anybody here in this hall would say. I said, "If I come with you, you will keep me." He said, "No." I said, "Give me a word." He gave me his hand. I asked for time to think about it. He said, "You can have time. Come back tomorrow night if you're coming." I went away, 3 sets of advice. Don't go, you'll be taken. You can't be sure, but probably you'll be all right. And the third one, you will certainly be safe because you've been given safe conduct. My own view, I thought the odds were against me. And yet I also thought that if I do not go and one of those men dies, and I've had a chance to see someone before they die, and I haven't taken it, then I'm going to have to live with myself for the rest of my life. There you can argue that it wasn't just altruistic motive on my part. There was a personal motive too, as there often is in many things that we do. The next night I went back. Immediately I thought something was wrong, because the doctor who had arranged the meeting at his apartment up the steps you saw on the film, the telephone rang. He answered it. He said, "I've got to leave you." I said, "Can't you stay until my contact arrives?" He said, "No, I must go now." And he left. And I remember to this day taking my shoes off and walking up and down the apartment. Should I go? Should I stay? I thought, stick with it. After a few minutes, I heard the elevator on the second floor. It came up. My contact came into the room. The usual procedure, quick check to see if you're carrying arms, into a car, across the town, into another car with gunmen in the back and in the front. to a secret location, change of clothing, examination of the whole body and your teeth to see if you're carrying a locator device, and then waiting. And after 5 days, waiting, the most difficult part of any negotiating process, then I was taken at night across town, blindfolded, told to get out when we came to a certain location, which I believe was an underground garage beneath an apartment block. And looking beneath the blindfold, there was a trapdoor in the floor. I was pushed down, pushed across the room, a door closed behind me, and I was in a tiled cell. I realized then I was no longer a negotiator, I was a hostage. 3 things came to mind at that point. First, I was angry with myself for taking such a risk, angry with my captors for breaking their word. And I didn't eat for a week, after which my anger had dissipated. And I would say one word about anger. It's a normal human emotion, we all have it. But if we allow it to turn to bitterness, it's like a cancer that enters the soul. It will destroy us. My anger dissipated after the end of a week, and I ate. And then I said to myself as I sat there on the floor, 3 things. No regrets, no self-pity, no over-sentimentality. Don't regret what you've done. You can't have done everything right, but now don't regret, you'll be demoralized. Don't be sorry for yourself. There are many people in the world in far worse situations. If you're sorry for yourself, you'll be demoralized. And no over-sentimentality. Don't say, if only. If only I'd been a better husband, a better father. You can't live the past again. You stand where you are with whom you are, and you face the future. Wasn't easy. I had a mock execution. I was tortured. Somehow, my faith, which is not terribly extroverted, I'm not a great extrovert in my faith, but I could say this in the face of my captors: you have the power to break my body, and you've tried, because I was tortured. You have the power to bend my mind, and you've tried, because I was interrogated. But my soul is not yours to possess. My soul, the whole person that I am, that lies in the hand of God and will not be taken. And somehow that very, very simple understanding enabled me to maintain hope. And that is what true faith, whatever expression of faith, Islam, Christianity, whatever, true faith should enable us to have hope for ourselves and for mankind. As you saw on the film, 20 years later, I returned to meet my captors, to put the past in the past, and to try in a very simple way to express again something which lies at the heart of Christian understanding, and that is a simple principle of forgiveness. Love your enemies. Forgive those who wrong you. Do not hold grudges. Try and be open to people, even if you have been wounded and hurt. And remember also that we live in a world that is full of suffering. There isn't one in this hall today who has not suffered or who will suffer at some point in the future, probably greatly. But remember one thing, that suffering need not destroy. Out of suffering, often something creative can emerge. And as far as the Christian faith is concerned, just keep one thing in mind. The central symbol of the faith is the cross. And the cross is a symbol of suffering. And beyond the cross lies the hope of which I've been speaking. May God bless you all in your future, and go forward with courage and with hope in your hearts. Thank you.